Hello, everyone. I am Sean, and welcome once again to my Horror Corner. As always, thank you so much for watching today. I really do appreciate you tuning in, taking the time to listen to my channel. Thank you all. To everyone that's been subscribing, you guys are the absolute best. I really do appreciate your support, your encouragement, so thank you. Today, I'm super excited to welcome a guest, someone brand new to the show, Sarah from the Final Girls podcast. Sarah, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited and grateful to be here.
Yeah, no, I'm very glad that you made it. Sorry Kelly couldn't make it, but maybe next time she can join
Next
us. But
time, for sure.
yeah. So if anybody that's watching my channel is not familiar with you and what y'all do, take a minute to plug your channel, talk about it, and anything you might have coming up.
Absolutely. So Kelly, my co-host, is a film scholar. I'm a pop culture writer, and each episode we dissect the traumas and tropes of the final girl. So each episode we pick one iconic final girl and we just dive into her arc, what we learn from her, what her story represents for women, for non-binary folks, for LGBTQ. We dive into all those issues. It's really fun. We have a pretty broad definition of final girls, so we do get some pushback on what constitutes a final girl. But Trish is actually on our list, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, we are having a great time. We've been on the air since January and met some really cool people. And yeah, you can find us on anywhere you get your podcasts, but we just recently started doing videos. So we are on YouTube also, and that's Final Girls the podcast. And then I'm sure I'll send you our info, but you can find us on social media. Instagram is Final Girls the podcast, and Blue Sky is Final Girls podcast. So yeah, we like having conversations. So yeah, if you're not familiar with us, come find us and have some nerdy horror conversations about Final Girls with us.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely check it out. I came across their podcast and started listening to it. And then I think you have, is it just 2 episodes up on YouTube so far?
Yes, but we are
Okay.
having our next one's on Wednesday. So
Okay,
I guess
perfect.
by the time this comes out, there'll be 2 more.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so definitely check it out. Great podcast. So much fun listening
Thank
to y'all. I really
you.
do appreciate it. So yeah, definitely encourage everybody to check out their channel as well. So Sarah, one of the things that I mentioned to you this before we started recording, but anytime I have someone on for the first time, just for my curiosity, and then I think listeners like to know as well, what got you into horror movies? Was there a particular movie? Was it, family, friends, some kind of event? Like, what got you into the horror scene?
Well, I was very I don't want to say sheltered, but I was very kept away from horror growing up. Just it wasn't really on anyone's radar around me. But I started reading Goosebumps,
Okay.
and that got me into a Fear Street funnel into Stephen King. And from there, it was just, I was hooked. I love being scared. I had a wild imagination as a kid. And I loved the feeling of being super scared that like I couldn't go to sleep at night with the lights off. I love that.
Right.
I still do. And so from there, when I was like 11, I think it was, I was at a sleepover and we watched I Know What You Did Last Summer. And that was the first horror movie that I had ever
Oh, wow.
seen.
That's
Other
a
than
good
like,
one.
Are You
Okay.
Afraid of the Dark? I watched that in the Goosebumps series, but like this was the first like slasher movie.
Okay.
And I was, no pun intended, hooked.
Yeah.
Absolutely hooked from there. So yeah, it's been since I was 11. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. Yeah, I like that that's the first one you saw because a lot of people that that are familiar with my channel and familiar with me, they know that I am a huge fan of the original I Know What You Did Last Summer,
Yeah.
and a huge fan of the Julie character and Jennifer Love Hewitt. It's kind of a running joke on some of the people that guest on my channel and I guest on theirs, and we get together. There's always some kind of a comment about Jennifer Love Hewitt made because
Yeah.
I'm such a fan of that movie. So I like the fact that that
She's a
was the
great
first one
final
that you got
girl.
into. She is.
Yeah.
I agree. She's fantastic. Kind of underrated, I think, a little bit.
Very
But
underrated. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Who is your, if you don't mind me asking, who is your favorite final girl?
When I get asked this question, my answer is always Wendy from The Shining. And again,
Okay.
not everyone considers her a final girl. I do. I think one of the things I like about her is she represents that not all of us are built like a Ripley or even a Sydney. Like some of us have the strength that we have to find from within. And I
Okay.
think Wendy really shows that. It's one of the most powerful arcs, Final Girl arcs, I believe.
Yeah.
I know it was also, I think, the absolute like terror that she had to go through working with Stanley Kubrick, I think also kind of colors her Shelley Duvall's portrayal of Wendy.
Right.
So I always say her, but then if people are like, no, 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 classic definition of Final Girl, I love Erin from Your Next. So
Okay. Oh, wow. That's a good one too. Yeah, no, I'd certainly get it with Wendy, and I love Your Next. I'm a huge fan of that movie. Erin is a badass.
yeah,
Now, my favorite, pretty common, is Sidney Prescott. I'm a huge
yeah,
Nev
yeah,
Campbell fan as well.
yep, yep.
And even though I've been a horror fan since I was a kid, it took me a little while. In the beginning, everything scared the shit out of me, but eventually I got into it and started watching it and got to become a fan. But then 1996, 1997, about that time that Scream and I Know What You Did Last Summer came out, those two movies took it from like being a fan to being a
Mhm.
fanatic for me. Like those two
Mhm.
movies just changed everything. So for me, yeah, Sidney Prescott and Julie James are top. But yeah, there's a lot of great ones out there. But
That was a
yeah,
classic time for teen slashers. That was
yeah,
like chef's kiss
yes.
perfection. Yeah.
Definitely, I completely agree. So yeah, and some, I'm also a huge fan of. I think Urban Legend is underrated. I love
Yes.
that one that came out about the time. The Faculty is not a slasher, but still such
Yeah.
a great movie.
Idle
So yeah,
Hands. Idle
Idle
Hands is my
Hands,
favorite
yeah,
from that.
very
Yeah.
good one. So yeah, great time frame in my opinion as well. All right,
100%.
very cool. Well, we are going to be talking today about Jeepers Creepers. Now, just kind of let everybody know before we get into anything, if you've watched my channel before, you know that I always mention writer, director. Then I also talk about producer, cinematographer, that kind of thing. I will not be mentioning the writer or director for this movie. I think everybody probably knows why, but we just don't want to mention that name and get anything started. However, I do still want to talk about the movie because I really do enjoy this film. Um, do you remember the first time you saw this original, the first Jeepers Creepers movie?
It was in college. It was in
Okay,
college. I saw it in like a dorm room like movie marathon. So it's been a
okay,
minute. I
okay,
mean it's so memorable though.
yeah.
So like I remembered almost every detail. So every part of the story. Yeah, I mean, I love Justin Long, so
Okay, very cool. Yeah. All right. Well, we will. Let me put my glasses on so I can actually see my notes, and we'll jump in and get started. Real quick, a tagline from the film is just simply "What's eating you?" On a desolate country highway, two homeward bound teens are nearly run off the road by a maniac in a beat up truck, and later spot him shoving what appears to be a body down a sewer pipe. Film was released August 31st of 2001, produced by J. Todd Harris, Barry Opper, and Tom Luis. Cinematography done by Don E. Fauntleroy. There we go. Edited by Ed Marks. Music by Bennett Salve. Distributed by United Artists and MGM. A runtime of 91 minutes, $10 million budget, $59 million at the box office. Let's start this off. We'll stop there for a moment and give me your thoughts on cinematography, score, and this story for this film.
I love the story. I think it's such a classic, like monster movie, but mixed with kind of like this slasher feel.
Right.
It's because there's the hunting that he's like hunting them.
Yeah.
I love the story. The cinematography, it feels dirty. It's one of
Right.
those movies where I feel dirty when I watch it, kind of like the original Texas Chainsaw, where you just like feel like you need a shower after.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I do, and again, I love the visceral reaction I get from movies.
Right.
So those two, that makes it a really fun experience. I think not everyone would probably call it fun. I do.
No, I
And
agree.
then
Yeah.
and then the music is, it's I pay I'm a big music fan and listener, so I do pay it close attention to the score. And this one kind of, maybe this is a controversial take. I didn't think it added or subtracted. It was just kind of there.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. I try. I'll be completely honest. Years ago, I never really paid that much attention to the score unless it was just something. I mean, certain ones are iconic, right? Like
Yeah. Oh
Halloween,
yeah.
Jaws, things
Saw.
like that. Those things are
Yeah.
iconic. Saw, exactly. But a lot of times I didn't really catch the score. Once I started doing this channel about a year ago, I really started trying to pay more attention. And I felt the same way with this one. I didn't think, I mean, I hate to say it, it wasn't like it was bad, but it just didn't really do anything
Yeah.
for me either way. I do agree with you, though. I think the cinematography is good. And I love the story as well. And I would call this fun as well. That's one of the things that when I talk about different movies on my channel and just talking about horror movies in general with people, I want my horror to be fun.
Hmm.
Um, and this one is a lot of fun to me. Maybe some people don't understand that, but this one is a lot of fun to me. I'm not big personally on. I mean, I know they have their place, and there are some really good ones out there. The slow burn, deep psychological, where you really have to think, kind of
Yeah.
not my thing.
Yeah.
It's great, and again, it has its place, and there are some really good ones. But overall, that's not my thing. I want to have fun. Real
Yeah.
life is terrifying enough, so I want to have
I
fun
hear
when I
that.
watch a movie. And this one is definitely fun to me. So I agree with you 100%. Um, just a few people from the cast that I'll mention: Gina Phillips, Justin Long, Jonathan Breck, Eileen Brennan, and Patricia Belcher, primary cast members for this film. Give me your thoughts on the cast and the characters for this movie.
The, so I think the obvious first one is Justin, like the first one we're gonna talk about is Justin Long, just because I saw a meme one time that was like, if you see this guy in a horror movie, you know he's gonna have a bad time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
he's, I
exactly.
know he's like kind of he's built this horror name for himself, which I really respect. I love him. I love his comedy too.
Yeah,
He's just got this really down to earth delivery. And in this movie, it's hard not to compare him to the other horror movies he's in, and some of his
sure.
comedy. Obviously, especially around that time period. Like I'm thinking Dodgeball for the
Yeah,
comedy, or even this was about 8 years later probably, but when in Drag Me to Hell, where
yes,
it's like he just can't catch a break,
right.
and kind of all of those stories. But I this one I feel like really sets the stage for that kind of career arc. um he's so likable,
Yeah,
and he just feels like someone, and this
right,
character Derry feels like someone you probably go to school with. He lives down the hall in your dorm,
right.
with the stinky laundry, and he takes it home to his
Right.
mom, and he puts the air freshener in it because that's
Yes.
what like 18, 19-year-old boys do.
Right.
So he feels very realistic. Trish, I I I thought she was fine. She again, she's on our list as a final girl. I felt
Okay.
bad for her a lot in this movie, and she just kind of had to go along with everything.
Okay.
And I think, I'm sure we'll get to the end, but I think there's just kind of this element of her where you feel bad for both of them, but with her, you're like, oh, she's just holding on to this hope that he makes it and everything.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
just feel bad for her.
Right.
I think she's definitely got badass final girl chops.
Sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, and then of course the creeper is so wonderfully creepy. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Right.
Love that character. And the only other one that I guess is really kind of sticks out is the psychic, Giselle.
Yes.
So,
Giselle.
and
Mhm.
and again, another character I feel badly for because she doesn't really get taken seriously, and she's kind of the
Yeah.
one that knows what's going on. So,
What's happening? Yeah.
yeah. What about
No,
you?
I completely agree with you. I think Justin Long is fantastic in this movie, and he is one of those actors that he just does seem so likable, even if the character he's playing is not that likable. You still
Exactly.
like him, you
Like in
know. So yeah,
Barbarian.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So I completely agree with you there, and I think he and Gina Phillips do exceptional together because
Yeah.
they they seem like a brother and sister.
They
They really do.
do.
They did such a great job together, like that they feed
Nuh-uh,
off each other very well. Yeah. So I think both of their performances are outstanding. Justin Long does such a tremendous job of playing scared. Like he seems
Mhm.
terrified.
Mhm.
So again, yeah, I think he does a phenomenal job. I think Gina Phillips does a phenomenal job. Yes, Patricia Belcher as Giselle. I think she does a good job as well. And then yeah, the creeper is great. Jonathan does a great job as him also. You mentioned something earlier that I kind of wanted to come back to for just a second because I wanted to know your take, and I feel like you kind of gave it a while ago. when I look at lists, because I'm a slasher guy, that's my
Hmm.
favorite subgenre in
Hmm.
horror is slashers. Absolutely love
Same,
slasher movies.
same.
And a lot of times when I look at lists and things of the best slashers, I see the creeper mentioned. You know, he's never in the top group because you've got your Michael and Jason
Yeah.
and Freddy and Leatherface and Chucky, which is fine. But I
Hmm.
do see the creeper on a lot of lists. Um, which threw me off in the beginning because I'm like, oh, he's not a slasher. But this movie has that feel. It
It
does have that
totally
slasher
does.
feel. So do you
Yeah.
consider the creeper a slasher?
Oh, 100%.
Okay.
Because you know, it's funny. I even consider we did an episode on Jurassic Park, and we talked about the pterodactyls, and I felt like they felt like slashers too, because like there's this element of being hunted,
Yeah.
and just it kind of that just kind of coloring your survival versus something like a ghost or
Right.
you know, there's just which can also obviously can hunt you to kind of like follow you and haunt you, I guess.
Yeah.
um but yeah, the creeper is absolutely a slasher. He just doesn't use a knife, he uses his teeth.
Right.
So yeah, yeah.
That's
And
true.
you consider him slasher too?
I do, yeah. In the beginning, I didn't, and I don't know why. But the first time I saw him on the list, because I thought the same thing about Pennywise. I see Pennywise on
Yeah.
lists of slashers quite a bit, and the first time I saw the Creeper and like Pennywise on there, I'm like, oh no, they're not slashers. But then I go back and I watch those movies, and I'm like, oh yeah, there's so many elements of that slasher there.
Mhm.
There
Mhm.
might be a few differences here and there, but it's still there. I definitely consider him a slasher, and you know, we'll maybe somewhere down the road we talk about this a little bit before we started recording, having you come back and maybe Kelly can come on and talk about more movies in this franchise. um, I enjoy the first two movies. After that, this franchise starts to struggle a little bit, and I
Yeah.
hate that because I really like the Creeper so well in these first
Mhm.
couple. So yeah,
Mhm.
I definitely consider him a great slasher.
There's also an element of kind of like psychological, like terrorizing, you know, and I think that's another part of a slasher
Yeah.
that they like really enjoy. Like, and I mean, the creeper, he kind of like gets off on smelling fear, you know, and
Right.
I mean, that definitely motivates Ghostface. And I
Yeah.
mean, that's like even the intro to Scream, like you can
Right.
tell Ghostface is like just getting so juiced up by this character's fear.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
there's something that's really strong about the creeper, that in the creeper. Obviously,
Right.
it's part of his character.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. Yeah, he definitely has that, and he likes to toy with his victims, which
Yeah.
you know, Freddy, Chucky, Ghostface,
Uh-huh.
they like doing that as well. So
Hmm.
yeah, absolutely fits that category in my opinion. Before we get into the plot, just a couple of production notes that I found slightly interesting. Some people may know this because this is not like this is a brand new movie, but there are a lot of sources out there that believe this film was inspired by the 1990 case of Dennis Depew. Two siblings witnessed Mr. Depew drive quickly past them and then dump a blood soaked blanket behind an abandoned schoolhouse somewhere in Michigan. Depew saw them and then tailgated them for 2 miles before taking off down a different road. The siblings returned to the school, found the blanket, reported it to the police, and then the next day, Depew ended up committing suicide during a shootout with police. However, this was never confirmed that this is where the idea for the movie came from, but it's reported that the siblings also did mention they were playing a license plate game when they saw him the first time. So interesting. I mean, it sounds like
Hmm.
that's where it came from.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Like beat for beat almost.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I
The
do
original.
think
No, go
Oh,
ahead.
I do think setting it in, I think what, Florida or this somewhere in the South kind of gives it
Yeah.
this like there's like crickets and like
Yeah.
fog, and it's kind of atmospheric, probably a little
Yes.
different than, you know, Midwest feel of Michigan.
Right. No, I completely agree. And it does feel kind of, you know, you talked about that comparison to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It feels very hot,
Yes.
and
It
sticky,
does.
that kind of
Sticky.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely get that vibe from it as well. Um, the original script had Derry drive the creeper's truck into a train, sacrificing himself in an attempt to kill the creeper. That was removed due to budget reasons, so they had to come up with something else. The role of the creeper was originally written for Lance Henriksen, but he had dropped out of the film, and that's when Jonathan Brett was able to come in. And Justin Long did play the creeper in the final scene of the film, where we see the creeper basically taking Derry's eyes. That was Justin Long in the creeper costume for that
I
scene.
didn't know that.
Yeah, so just a few
Aw.
interesting things there for behind the scenes. But yeah, let's open this up then and start to walk through the plot here a little bit, and we'll just start with that opening scene. Um, with yeah, Trish and Derry driving and the truck approaching them from behind. Talk to me about your thoughts on this opening scene. Your
Well, you mentioned it about how much they felt like brother sister, and I totally agree with you. And I think that's what's so endearing about it. I've mentioned this on our show before, but I love when the two main characters are brother and sister because so often we see like these love triangle love stories, and they
right,
feel forced.
yeah,
And I like the ones like Evil Dead, the ones that have like a brother sister thing because it's different stakes, and I really like that about Trish and Derry. And I love their little games. I didn't grow up with a brother. I had a sister, but still we did those like stupid things with each other. We're like, nah,
right,
uh-huh, nah, nah. Like that was
yeah,
so funny. The license plate game. I mean, who doesn't play that with their siblings when you're a kid?
right,
And they're like 20. So, and
yeah,
then they're talking about their mom. And that's another thing. Like, that's where I think there's stakes. It's building these stakes that they have this kind of like guilt about growing up
right,
and seeing their mom have this like empty nest syndrome, and that feels relatable. So
yeah,
I love and there's not like a ton of like exposition. It doesn't tell us much other than like he's in school and she's dating this poli sci guy,
yeah,
and they're just kind of they're having their sibling jokes and games, but they're also interspersing like these serious like discussions,
right,
which is cool. But it's kind of like one of those. It's just a snapshot, and you're just kind of thrown in, and I like
right.
that. And it builds the tension really well, and it's also comedic. Justin Long has some funny little like it's incest and things like that.
Right, right,
But yeah, I think it doesn't drag, and I like that.
yeah.
I like that. How about you? What do you think?
No, I absolutely love it. I think it's great. We talked about it. The dynamic between Trish and Derry, I think, is really good, and I like the fact that you just kind of get that vibe from them. I mean, I come from, I'm the oldest of four boys. My parents had
Mhm.
four boys, and I'm the oldest. And one of the thing about growing up with younger brothers is we always had this thing where we might get so aggravated with each other, and we might want to beat the hell out of each other sometimes, but nobody else better mess with the
Oh,
other one.
yeah,
And
totally.
so you kind of get that feeling from them as well. Like
Yeah.
you can tell they care about each other, they love each other, but they also get frustrated with each other.
Mhm.
And yeah, I think these two do such a great job. They played so well together. There was a great
Mhm.
chemistry for them as a brother and sister. And I think even though you get thrown into it and you really don't get a lot of it, you get just enough and it works.
Mhm.
And so I love the opening there. And then of course the creeper approaching from behind and that horn, it's
Yeah.
just so loud
Yeah.
and just jumps out at you. It is startling. And right off the bat, we talked about how I think Justin Long does a great job of playing scared. You feel their tension, you feel their fear when he's
Mhm.
behind them and they're having these issues there. So um, yeah, I think it's a great opening. I absolutely love it. It jumps right in. It doesn't drag, and it hooks you from the very beginning, in my opinion.
And the truck is scary. That thing,
It
it's
is.
its own character. I mean, it's basically a character. It's
Yeah,
it's terrifying. I mean, I would be scared even if that thing wasn't, coming up and ramming me from the tailgate area.
right.
I would be scared of driving past that thing. I'd be like,
Yeah.
I definitely wouldn't
Yeah,
walk by it for sure. Yeah.
right. No, I completely agree. And then from there, of course, then they do, they discuss a little bit the couple that had gone missing or had the accident there in that same area quite some time before. And then they approach and find the creeper putting this body down in the pipe. And even in that moment when this happens, you see the creeper see them, and you definitely get that oh shit moment, like he
Mhm.
saw him, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
And then again, the creeper starts, following them again, and we have more issues and runs them off the road. Um, Talk to me about a little bit. You hear your thoughts on the movie as it's carrying out, where now they've seen what the creeper did. He's followed them again. He's run them off the road, and Derry wants to go back. Trish
Hmm.
doesn't want anything to do with it, but Derry wants to go back.
Hmm.
Um, where are you at this point in the movie? What are you thinking and feeling?
Well, one of the things I love about horror is it is so self-aware and so meta. And
Yes.
so they are, they are like, okay, we saw this person throwing this body, clearly what looked like a body down this pipe.
Right.
And Derry's like, oh shit, we got to go back.
Yeah.
And Trish it's funny, she says something like, this is why women are smarter, where she's like,
Yeah.
no, let's just send the cops there. And
Right.
then, of course, Derry is kind of over, like he's just so like passionate about going back.
Yeah.
And he was like, what if it were you? Like
Right.
he does that, which it's sweet. It feels like a very Justin Long type of a character.
Yeah.
And when they go to the pipe and he's like, I'm going to go in. She says the thing that I always love that horror movies do. She's like, well, in a scary movie, this is when the one person does something stupid and everyone hates him for it.
Yes. Yeah.
Um, but what the thing that struck me was his stupid thing is he wants to help whoever's down there. So his
Right.
stupid thing is very he wants to help. Like he's philanthropic. He wants to save someone. He's not just
Yeah.
doing it to be stupid or to like
Right.
see what's there. I mean, he wants to see, he's curious, but also he wants
Sure.
to protect this person.
He
So
does want to help.
that's yeah. And then, I think the thing about this movie is I love campy horror. I love it. I think there's some, there's this fully self-aware camp, and then there's the accidental camp. And I feel like the scene where you see what does he say? Like there's a Sistine Chapel of bodies or something.
Yes.
It's
Yeah.
so campy and so fun.
Right.
And that's where it feels kind of like a Leatherface, like Texas Chainsaw, smelly,
Yeah.
sticky. You can
Right.
smell this movie. So yeah, I really
Right.
enjoy that part. I really enjoy
Yeah.
it.
I completely agree, and I wrote that line down as well that you mentioned where she does say that. But yeah, he's really not doing any. I mean, he's just trying to help, but her line is funny at the same time. So, um, and the shot, I actually like that shot where he's halfway down the pipe and the rats come up and she ends up
Mhm.
letting go and he falls. That shot looks really good where he
It
falls
does.
down the pipe and then hits the ground. So I thought that was done well. Um, and then he wants her to go back to the road, watch for the truck, and of course we do get that scene where she thinks she sees the truck and it turns out to be the wrong one. But that's kind of mixed in with him looking around down there, finding the body, um, seeing the body stitched up on the wall, and kind of like you said, that's where you get that Texas Chainsaw Massacre
Mhm.
feel and vibe from it. But I think here everything looks really good. This is where I like the cinematography. I think things look great. It does look disgusting. I mean,
Yeah.
it's not something you want to be a part of at all. So,
You can
yeah,
smell it.
it's very good. Um, and then the movie, as he finally gets out and they take off. Of course, we get a little bit of a jump scare there where she's in the car and he comes up by the window, which is always fun. But
Mhm.
they get back to the diner, and the group of people at this diner just blow my mind because uh, I don't understand these people.
Mhm. I know.
They all are just so awkward when this couple comes in, and it's not like they come in even really. I mean, obviously something's wrong, but they don't come in frantic and throwing a
Yeah.
huge fit. But yet, yeah, these people just staring at them. This is a very odd group,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
And no
I
one's
don't know
doing
what that's all about.
anything.
No,
Yeah.
nothing at
Yeah.
all.
They're just like, "Oh, what's going on? Are you okay? Like, you
Yeah,
good?" And he's clearly all disheveled and he's not speaking because he's like traumatized. And yeah,
right.
it makes me think though, again, like pulling it back because my brain always goes to like analyze the final girl mode.
Sure.
And one of the things about a final girl is she's not believed a lot of the time.
Right.
And this is just such a great example of that. Cause even, the cops to a degree, but she's like, someone call the cops. Like something happened. Like we need help. And
Right.
people are like, and that's a
Yeah.
very, protagonist of a horror movie, especially a final girl, because there's something about a young girl that people are I feel like maybe if Derry came in with like kind of authority like she did, but they might take him a little more seriously, especially
Right.
because it's the South. So,
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Had she been the one that was more shaken up and he was the one saying this is what we need to do, maybe
mhm,
somebody would have responded. Yeah.
mhm,
So I
mhm,
can definitely see that. The creeper, of course, he passes by outside and then they get the phone call there from Giselle. So
mhm.
we kind of get our first introduction to what her character is going to be like. As you mentioned, the cops show up and they're talking to him and they're not really buying this either. Um, the one lady, then the waitress, though, does mention to them that the
Mhm.
creeper is spotted out by their car.
She's like the
Uh,
only one.
yeah, yeah, nobody else still seems to care.
Yeah.
But which again, I think just here, I really like Justin Long's performance because once she mentions this and she talks about that this creeper's out there and he's like sniffing the laundry, but Justin Long goes out there and he you feel so bad for him. Like
Yep.
he really does seem terrified when he's out
Yep.
there. He's like, and now he knows my name. Like
Yep. With his
he's
pink
horrified.
underwear.
Yes, yes, but he's playing the part so well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
again, I think it's so good here. Also, now then we get to the scene where the cops are following them. They're in the car, and the Jeepers Creepers song comes on the radio,
Mhm.
and then the creeper ends up on the cops' vehicle. Talk to me about this scene. Did you like these kills? Did you think this was it just a fun scene? Did you feel the tension? Your thoughts on this scene?
I I think this one, it kind of it is fun. It was fun. It was
Yeah,
short. It's a short
right.
scene. There's not much tension building. I think
I agree.
the idea of the creeper having wings, because you don't really know he has wings until
Right,
you get to that point and you're like, oh, he's not a human, he's something supernatural. So
right.
you learn a little bit more about the creeper in this position, and that makes him even more dangerous and makes you more vulnerable because now he has
Sure.
this, you're like, oh, he has this upper hand on me. And then the with the taking the head off was, that's, it's always a fun, it was just a fun campy
Yeah,
way to take someone out. I have these thoughts about the cops because they really don't do much to save anyone,
they
and
don't.
and that kind of feels like, I don't know, that kind of feels, maybe it's not commentary explicitly, but it feels kind of like commentary, and it's, the kids are on their own. They're on their
Yeah,
own. They have no help whatsoever other than Giselle. So
yeah,
it's a short scene. We learn so much more. I think it's there because we learn more about the creeper. What did you
yeah.
think?
I think you're right. Actually, it is very short. I don't think there is any tension here. I don't find that this is a moment where there's fear or anything like that. To me, this is just a fun kill that gets thrown
Yeah.
in, and you do start to, as you mentioned, get a little bit about. You learn a little bit more about the creeper. We get our first decent look at him here. We start to find out some of his abilities, that kind of thing. This is also something though that I'm curious about, and we'll touch on it more once we get to the prism. So I'm going to come back to that, but just to kind of give you a heads up, I'm going to want to know what your thoughts are on the creeper the more we see the non-human side, because I have a little bit of a feeling there, and we'll come back to that.
Oh.
But then we get to the cat lady, of course. They show up at this lady's house after the police have been killed, and I mean, again, kind of I guess it's kind of a fun scene. There's a little more build up here than there was
Hmm.
with the police, but there's still not a lot.
Hmm.
Again, I think this is just giving us some of the kills. These are just for kills and
Yeah.
doing the body count thing. I mean,
Yep.
that's what
Yep.
we're doing here with this here. But it is still even this scene is kind of funny just with the amount of cats and the way this old
Yeah.
lady acts, that kind of thing. There's some fun there too, Ed. Um, then we get Trish running over the creeper, and that's where
Hmm.
we start to get even more insight into him because we're
Hmm.
seeing these wings. We're seeing him trying to reform after
Hmm.
she's hit him several times before they take off. So I'll say this here: do you like the creeper better as not knowing all of these things? Like in the beginning, is this just a man? Like what exactly is happening? Or once you start to see that he has these wings and these rejuvenating abilities, obviously it makes him more terrifying. It makes him a bigger threat.
Hmm.
But which do you like more?
I just like what you were saying. I like having, not having that knowledge
Yeah,
until it's like, it's all too late, but until it's like, oh, now we know what we're dealing with and we are screwed. And like, how are we going to get out of this? I think, again, another reason why it feels like a slasher. I mean, he doesn't die. It's kind of like Jason or
Yeah.
Michael Myers. They just don't die. Like
Right.
no matter what you do to them. So,
Right.
so yeah, I like not knowing and having that kind of, unwrap as we get in, and
Right.
the stakes, just keep getting higher and higher, and we bring in all these other people that are collateral damage. And the cat lady is
Sure.
a funny scene. It is
Yeah.
another like body count scene.
Right.
She's funny because she's like, get off my property with a shotgun. And that's
Yeah.
not going to end well for her.
Right.
And it's just funny, the old cat lady trope is, it's a silly trope. It's funny. It's fun to see on screen.
Right.
So yeah, what did you like? What did you prefer?
So,
Yeah.
to be honest, I think I'm right there with you. I wish that maybe, I mean, I enjoy this film, so this is not a knock against the movie at all, and we'll get to our rating at the end of it and talk about that there. But I wish that we could have not known for a little bit longer
Okay, that's fair.
because, because, um, I mean, I do get it. It does raise the stakes. I completely understand all of that, but I liked the not knowing. And
Yeah.
even with, when I look back at, because I'm a huge fan of the Halloween franchise and the Friday the
Mhm.
13th franchise and these things. But my favorite movies in those franchises are the earlier ones
Oh yeah.
because, like, Friday the 13th, my favorite Jason movies is when he was still just a person.
Before the mask.
Before, well, no, I love the third one. The
Yeah,
third
yeah,
one I think is so unappreciated. I absolutely love that third one. But after 4, when he becomes zombie Jason, I
yeah,
still like them, but I like the other ones better when he was a
yeah,
guy, when he
yeah.
was just a guy doing these
That's
things.
more realistic.
Exactly.
It's
And
more
I think
terrifying.
that's, kind of the same thing with Michael Myers. I like the fact that it was a guy before they become these unstoppable killing
Yeah,
Terminator like machines,
yeah, yeah,
and I kind of felt that with the Creeper as well. I wish we could have got just a little more of the not knowing, because the
yeah,
more it started to get revealed, it was still fun. I still
yeah.
enjoyed it, but it just took away for me just a little bit
That's
because I liked
fair.
it better before I knew all of that.
Yeah, a reveal, it requires it's a delicate buildup to have one of
Yeah,
those like blow your mind reveals.
right.
And I actually am with you on that. I think it could have teased it a little bit longer for a bigger reveal. I'm with you
Yeah,
on that. Like maybe if it had been revealed during like the prison or jail scene or something like that. If it had
right.
kind of like he'd kind of like risen with his big wings or something like that. And you're like,
Yes.
oh, this is not human.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because I mean, we know, and we'll get to it here in a few moments, that's, he does have these wings come out and he flies away with Deary. But by that point, we knew he had wings. Maybe if we
Yeah.
wouldn't have known that until
Yeah.
then, it
Yeah.
would have made it even better. So if we
Yeah.
wouldn't have had that happen, there where she's running over him several times and the wings are there. Um, yeah, I don't know. I just think it could have been a little bit better. Still really enjoy the movie. Still love the
Yeah.
Creeper. That's
Yeah.
just kind of the one little maybe nitpick I have with it is I wish they would have revealed it slower, I
Yeah.
think.
That's fair.
But yeah. And so then we do get to the police station and Giselle arrives. I do like the fact here because, as you mentioned, those first 2 cops are no help whatsoever. These cops really don't help either. Now, it almost appears that they try a little bit, but I don't know. I like the fact that these cops are completely helpless
Yeah.
against this.
Totally
There's
helpless.
not a damn thing they can do to
Yeah.
stop this,
Yep.
and
Yep.
just how terrified them. And I do love the scene where the one cop goes downstairs and you see the Creeper basically eating one of the
Hmm.
prisoners, and you
Hmm.
see the other prisoners are there, shaking, watching, and then this cop freaks out. So um, I do like a lot of this going on here at the prison. Um, yeah, what are your thoughts on all the action that's going on here in the prison between the police and the Creeper and Giselle showing up? That kind of
Yeah. Well, again, I'll preface this too. I love this movie too. So this is not a critique, but it follows a very beat by beat for with the climax and
right,
the third act, like the bad guys closing in, whatever they call it, in that 15 beat structure. And it very much follows that. So, and that's kind of predictable. But again, I'm not critiquing the movie in that way because that's what I like about it.
Right.
So, because again, it's fun.
Yeah.
You know what you're in for. We're not watching like a Martin Scorsese, like Oscar bait movie here.
Right.
We're watching
Yeah.
a fun, like summer popcorn horror
Yes.
movie.
Yeah.
So I really like that part. Again, I think it feels realistic and in the way of like these kids are just by themselves. Like the cops are there, but they don't really give a shit. Like they're kind of like, yeah, okay, there's something out there. But and then the other thing, they like full on dismiss Giselle and they think she's just
Right.
this like loony, like local towny lady who thinks she's a psychic. And again, she's the one that's right about
Right.
everything. And
Yeah.
they're based, not only do they like kind of dismiss her, they actively are like get out or we're going to throw you out.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's tension building. And I thought the set part was really cool, how they go upstairs and they can hear all the fighting downstairs.
Yes.
And they're like, oh, maybe this is our chance to get out. But little do they know, it's kind of where they get cornered. So
Right.
yeah. What'd you think about this part?
No. Excuse me. No, I completely agree. And I think they do a good job of bringing the tension back, especially once the creeper's kind of gotten through the police force or around them, I guess at least, and you see him like crawling on the wall and like come around the corner when he sees him.
Yeah.
I think that scene is great. I love the way that looks. Um, I also love the interaction that we get there between Trish and Derry and Giselle as Derry starts to figure out that Giselle knows what is going to happen. You know, because she keeps talking about how she sees one of them screaming in the dark and that kind of thing. And then he finally realizes that she knows which one. And they make it look like it's Trish.
Yeah, and
Because
she
when
thinks it's herself. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, when he first starts mentioning that, Giselle looks at Trish, so they make you think it's her. But I do think that with all of this going on in the police station and this little bit of chaos that's going on, I do like the way they brought the tension back with the creeper kind of getting around the cops and getting to them. And I just love that scene where he's on the wall. And then when he, checks out Giselle and decides to leave her alone, good scene there. And then as we get Trish and Derry and they're, in the one room talking and the creeper is watching them through the window part there. I think there's some tension there. It's a good scene also. And then we get to the finale. And so the creeper gets a hold of Derry. The cops do show back up. Tell me your thoughts on this finale, this final scene here with the creeper. Obviously, he's chosen Derry. He's got a hold of him. The police are there. Trish is trying to bargain, and the creeper's going to fly away. What's your thoughts on the finale of the movie?
Well, and this is, my particular lens, but it's not often you see the sister or the girl sacrificing herself. It's usually like the older brother, or I guess he was probably a younger brother, but it's the brother. It's the chivalry, it's the valor, it's the martyrdom, and it's very much a gendered thing, and not just in horror, but like kind of in general. And it's really disorienting to see Trish be so not selfless, but so strong in her bargaining, because she doesn't falter or like sound unsure. She is so like, she made the decision that she's gonna like barter with him or bargain with him and be the one that protect her brother. But there's no hesitation. And I love that about her character. And it's really refreshing. And it is a shock too, because you think like the creeper you're kind of under the assumption like maybe it is her, like everything's pointing to her. And it's such a shock when he grabs Derry and flies through the window. And obviously, so does the finale count the final scene in the House of Pain?
Yeah, absolutely.
and so then, the next scene is, and you hear him scream. I think
Right.
Derry's screams are so, they're very realistic. And
Yeah,
that's what
they
I
are.
love about Justin Long in these final scenes of the movies he's in, or at least his final scenes.
Right.
They're very real. Like he has
Yeah.
this, like he really sells it.
Yeah, I agree.
And his screams really sell it, which is really unsettling. And then going into the House of Pain and seeing the creeper from behind and having it like pan over to his stomach where you see the rose tattoo, which you saw earlier in the diner, and you're like,
Right.
oh shit.
Yeah.
And then of course it pans up and you're like, oh man, he made it
Yeah.
so far. I did not
Right.
want oh, come on. So, and then of
Yeah.
course you hear the song Jeepers Creepers, which is
Right.
very creepy.
Yeah, I agree. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with your take on it. I like all of it as well. But I think, we do see, because we are, like you said, we're painted this picture where we think it's going to be Trish.
Mhm.
But then you see almost why it's not, because you see her strength,
Yeah.
and all of
Yes.
that coming through. And the creeper wants the fear. And
Fear.
he's obviously, Derry's terrified, and
Mhm.
Trish is very, she's scared, but she's very strong in this
Mhm.
moment.
Mhm.
And that is why the creeper doesn't take her,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
she is stronger. He wants the fear like that. So, but I think the performances are great here. I think Gina Phillips' performance is great here. I think Justin Long's performance is good. And then, yeah, like you said, when you get to the House of Pain and you realize what's actually happened to Derry now, after you've come to love him through this movie, and
Yeah.
he's such a great sweet kid that you felt bad for, and you see that he almost made it, but he didn't quite. And this is what's happened to him. It's heartbreaking, but
Yeah.
yeah, I think it's a great finish. Yeah, I mean, it's a good finish to a pretty good movie. I think, on a scale of, when you look back over all of it. Well, first, let me ask you this: anything else you want to mention about the film that we haven't talked about or covered before we start trying to rate it?
Well, I mean, I think we covered everything, but just adding on to that very final scene where you realize that because you've seen the creeper, he eats what he wants from his victim.
Right.
And the whole song Jeepers Creepers Peepers, all of that, it's going to be something about
Sure.
eyes. And I
Right.
think you telling me that it was Justin Long playing the creeper makes so much sense, because the character goes behind this like bodysuit that's
Right.
hanging and looks through the empty eyeball socket, and it's his brown
Yeah.
eye. So of
Right.
course it's got to be Justin Long playing
Yeah.
this because it's his eye. So I thought
Right.
I'm really glad to know that. Thank you for sharing that tidbit.
Oh yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
but yeah, this movie, it's funny because I posted just a story on Instagram about how I was excited to rewatch this for this show, or for your show, and
Mhm.
I do that sometimes, and I got so many people sending me messages and hearting it, double tapping it, and people I didn't even realize were into horror, and I think that
Right.
tells you because there are so many like quote unquote classics that you would imagine everyone has seen. And
Yeah.
um Jeepers Creepers is definitely a classic, but I think it's not like it's someone who doesn't know much about horror. I don't know if they would watch it right away. I think they would
Right.
obviously see Halloween or Child's Play or something first. Um, so many people sending me their thoughts. One person who I had no idea was into horror was like, I watch this at least once a year. It's my comfort movie. And I was like, okay. So this
Yeah.
movie is so beloved.
Right.
I think it's also such a timestamp. And I love when movies do that.
Yeah.
I just watched one. I won't spoil it, but I just watched one for, it was a listener request for our podcast because it had a really interesting final girl. And it was made recently, but it takes place in the 80s. And that's fun. It's fun when it's done well.
Sure.
I like for example, Maxine. I think that's
Right.
a vibe where it's like the 80s vibe. But then I watched this one right after that, and it was such a contrast because the early Y2K, like the Y2K era, the millennium era, had there was kind of because this was what, 2001 or something like that.
2001. Yes.
Yeah, there was just, and there was kind of like this fun, coming off the heels of the 90s slashers, where it was just fun, and it felt like it was before the torture porn era. It was very much this like, and it's a tight 90 minutes. Sure. It doesn't drag. It's one that you could watch with your friends. Kelly always she always laughs when I say this, but it's one that you can just throw on in the background while you have like people over or something.
Right.
And it's just such a timestamp, not just the clothes and the vibe, but it feels very 2001. And I love when movies feel like that, when you can tell clearly when it was made, and just the effects and all of that. I love it. Thank you for choosing this one for us.
No, absolutely. And I agree with a lot of what you're saying. I think it does have a following out there, but it's not so big and so well known. It's still, you don't see a lot of, because I'm also a collector. I have movie posters, I have Funko Pops, I have figures, I have masks, I have things all over the place. And you just don't see as much creeper stuff as you do from some of the other ones. And when you do find something, it just, you're like, oh, wow. Yeah, that's actually something from Jeepers Creepers. It's so cool. Like I have I don't know exactly where it's at around here. I should have grabbed it, but I have the Beating You license plate, the Be Eating You license plate.
That's cool.
So I mean, when you find something like that, it is so cool. But there are a lot of people that really enjoy this one, and I agree with you that it's a great background movie. I mean, I've seen this movie multiple times, but I also can't tell you how many times I've turned it on while I'm cleaning house or just doing something here and there, because it's just one of those fun ones to have on like that. So it's definitely a fun horror movie, I think. Great start to the franchise. So on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rank the first Jeepers Creepers?
On just like how much I like it?
Sure.
Okay. Because it's funny because I when I watch a movie for a discussion like this, I kind of have various scales. And one that we use in our podcast, when I like to kind of gauge what kind of movie it is how much blood are our protagonists covered by the end. And if it's not blood, grime or grossness kind of tells you what kind of a physical battle it was versus maybe an intellectual battle. And I think this one, on that kind of a scale, it's not very bloody. I mean, there's a couple of kills in it, but it's not super, it doesn't feel super gory. It's just like, again, I keep using the word creepy, obviously, because it's in the title. But so if I were to rate it on like that kind of a scale, I would give it maybe a 6 or a 7, which in our podcast would kind of relate to like maybe a 1 or a 2 buckets of blood. But for how much I liked it, I would give it an 8 out of 10. I really do enjoy this movie. What about you? What's your rating?
No, that's so funny. I am right there with you. I think for me, what I wrote down on this one was an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed this first movie. And I would love to have you come back and talk about the second one when we down the road, or hopefully Kelly is able to join us and we can get her thoughts on this one as well then. But I really like this one. It's an 8 out of 10, I think, is very solid for it. Is it as good as my favorite Jason movie or Michael movie or something like that? No, but it's pretty close. It's still really good. So, I would also give it an 8 out of 10.
When was the first time you saw it?
So I saw this one, I saw this one actually when it first came out. I got to see this one in theaters when it first came out at the time. And I wasn't sure about it. I remember going in not knowing a whole lot. I'm sure I'd seen a trailer or something, but came out absolutely loving it. I was like, that was so good. It's a new killer, a new villain that we have now. And I just liked so many things about it. And I just came out thinking it was a really fun experience. And that's been, 24 years ago. And I still have just as much fun watching it now. So,
Is it one of those movies, do you think, that you would, if you had a friend who wasn't into horror and they were like, what should I watch? What should I watch? Would you put it on a list to, like, if someone had never seen much horror at all?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Yeah,
it's
I would
definitely
too.
a good introduction movie
It's
for people.
easy.
And
Yeah.
yeah, it is very easy because it's not, like you said, it's not extremely gory. There's some kills, there's a few things
Yeah.
that happen here and there, but overall, it's not an extremely gory movie.
Yeah.
And it's very well paced. The pacing
Mhm.
is outstanding. It doesn't drag,
Mhm.
and it's just got a lot of fun moments that I think would get your attention. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah.
be a great movie to try to get somebody started with to get into
Yeah, I'm
horror.
with you on that. Yeah, because there's
Yeah.
comparing it to something like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the original, I would never put that on
Right.
a list for someone who'd never seen horror. But this one for
Yeah,
sure, like, especially if I was trying
absolutely.
to, like, curate a list, like, here's a real bloody slasher movie, and here's a scary ghost movie, and here's a really visceral, creepy monster movie. It would
Yeah,
definitely be this movie.
I agree 100%. 100%. Um, anything else you want to say about Jeepers Creepers?
No, I can't. I can't wait to talk about a second one. It's gonna be
Yeah,
fun.
I'm looking forward to that as well. Well, Sarah, thank you so much for coming
Thank
on.
you.
Before we get out of here, again, take the time to go ahead and plug your channel and talk about any thing that you guys might have coming up that you want to share.
Yeah, so we just launched season 2. So I'm really excited. We have some really fun Final Girls coming up that we are going to be covering. We're going to be doing a lot more interviews. So I'm sure we would love to have you, Sean.
Oh, well, thank you.
We're going to be doing a lot more kind of collaborations like that in this season. We are launching a Patreon too soon, so we're going to be having
Okay.
more interviews, not just with other movie fans, but also with other kind of tangential people involved in the scene, VHS collectors, things like that.
Right.
So yeah, we have a lot of fun content planned, a lot of new kinds of content, more mini-sodes. We just did a Final Cats episode, and we have more of those planned. We have Final Kids. We have what we call Final Daddies, which are like the
Okay.
really fun men that are like final, like, make it to the end.
Right.
Lots of fun content coming up, new content. And again, you can find us on Instagram at Final Girls the Podcast, on Blue Sky Final Girls Podcast. Kelly runs our Blue Sky. There's a lot more in-depth, because she's a film scholar, so there's a lot more like in-depth conversation. I just post the memes.
Okay.
And then our website is where, if you can't find us when on your streaming apps, we're everywhere, but if you can't find us, because there are a few podcasts with Final Girls in the title, you can find us on our website, final-girls.com. And we just launched our YouTube, and that's Final Girls the Podcast. And yeah, I can't thank you enough. I love having these kinds of conversations. We haven't done Jeepers Creepers yet, so I was waiting for a chance to do that. So this has been so great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and thanks to your listeners for sticking around and listening to me nerd out again about Final Girl stuff. I just really appreciate the chance to chat. So thank you for having
No,
me.
thank you so much for coming on. It's been my pleasure. Coming up here at Sean's Horror Corner later this week, I will be back on with my friends Robbie and Kaylee from That Horror Couple. We're going to be talking about the 1980 Prom Night movie starring
Oh,
Jamie
they're
Lee
great.
Curtis.
And that's a good
Um,
movie.
yeah, and then next week, Isaiah from The Bitter Wolf, he and I talked about the OG Black Christmas a while back. He's going to come on again, and we're going to talk about the remake from 2006. And then Robbie and Kaylee will be back, and we'll be talking about A Quiet Place Day One. We've talked about the previous 2 Quiet Place movies, so they're going to come back and we're going to wrap that franchise up together. So, yeah, a lot of fun stuff still coming. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so you don't miss anything. I'm pretty much on everything out there: Blue Sky, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, X. Yeah, just search Sean's Horror. You can Sean's Horror Corner. You can find me. Definitely go check out the Final Girls podcast. It's one that I listen to every week. I love it. Been watching the YouTube channel, so it's a lot of fun. Definitely check out their episodes. They're a blast. And Sarah, one more time, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
This has
you.
been great. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank
same.
you.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, everybody, thank you for watching. I will see you soon. Goodbye.